Greetings and salutations, everyone. I hope you're doing well. We are live in 5, 4, 3, 2. Grand Wizard of the Esoteric Order of Dagon, Eastern Star Division, your friend and well-wisher, Frank London. Encouraging you to join me on the upcoming 100-day challenge, Pathways of Psionics. If you would, go ahead and hit the like button, and if it's your first time, don't let it be your last time by subscribing and clicking the bell. Be sure to check me out on www.buymeacoffee.com/Frank Monday. I am broadcasting to you live once again from the central kingdom of the Celestial Dragon, Twilight Zone, Old Peking, far behind the bamboo firewall. Welcome back, Wayfarer, Wanderer, Wizard, Warrior, and Wild Cadillac, wherever you are, whoever you are, and whenever you may be receiving this transmission. Today I would like to discuss with you the tarot card of the moon, due to the fact that we will soon be moving into the zodiac sign of Pisces, the last of the zodiacal wheel before we restart the cycle in Aries. So if you are a Pisces, this one is meant for you, and it's meant for everyone that's going to be paying attention to their astrological weather while we go through Pisces. Still on the drive to reach 1,000. Maybe we can get it done this year. Maybe I can reach 1,000 subs in 2025. Only 200 away, so not a big thing, not a huge target, right? I think we could probably get 200 subs in the next year. That would be fantastic. You can help me reach 100 subs by subbing a friend, sharing a video, or secretly subbing your grandmother. That'd be good magic, huh? Get it done. It's really cold in Beijing today. I believe it's below zero, well below zero. It says that it's right around zero right now. Mostly clear. Later in the day, the high will be around 12. So, ice cold 2000. Real to real, welcome to the show. Good to see you, amigo, hermano. I hope you're doing well out there in Happy Land. I'm going to be looking at the tarot card of the moon today, talking a little bit about that. It says on the astrological calendar that we will be moving into Pisces on the 18th. Is that what I wrote? Let's have a look. You and me. Gotta hit the button, and hit the button. Hey, wait a minute. Mute website notifications while sharing. I don't know if I need to do all that. But I like this one, and this one, and that should be it right there. Should look good. Yeah, so if you go over to cafeastrology.com, they've got a monthly calendar. And on that monthly calendar, you can see, wow, HTML, huh? That's pretty old school right there. Hypertext markup language. You can see your calendar for 2025. Red days indicate greater physical energy, and the green days indicate greater mental energy, greater levels of mental energy. We are coming up on Valentine's Day, so if you've got a little sweetheart, make sure you get her a little something, box of Chocos, and some flowers maybe. It is the 10th of February, and so the moon is currently transiting from Cancer into Leo. And yes, it will be the 18th of February when the sun goes into Pisces at 5:07 a.m. So to review, down to the card there, the Pisces are the emotional fishes, it says, right? These are all the associations here. And it says that They're filled with compassion and empathy. They often put others' needs before their own. They're ruled by Neptune, intuitive and incredibly creative by nature, with a soul as deep and vast as the oceans. Pisces thrive in a world of fantasy, where imagination can flow freely, driven by a strong connection to the spiritual world. The sign of the fishes knows how to balance cold, hard reality with the warmth of love and understanding. That's lovely. Little pop up there in the right hand corner. Yeah, I believe the Pisces card, the minor arcana, is going to be your 9 of Cups, but its major arcana card is going to be the Moon. In all its mystical and idealistic wonder, the tarot card of Pisces, the Moon represents our ability to rely on instinct and intuition. While Pisces, as the most intuitive sign of the zodiac, just as we live by the cycles of the Moon card encourages Pisces to go with the flow of nature instead of swimming against its currents. The Moon is not a card of answers and explanations, but one of the wild unknown. It says the Moon is not a card of answers and explanations, but one that asks us to look at the world through our mystical eye. I think I will check back over here real quick and turn down the music just a little bit. I can kind of hear it in the background. Yeah, it should be right at around 17%. Looks pretty good. Checking the old ideas room there. And we've got Quaff, the back of the head. Good stuff. Let me see real quick here.
Listen to the body and its unique wisdom.
There it is there. There's the Moon card. The subconscious realm, indeed. It says, the Moon card asks us to look at the world through our mystical eye. Our third eye perceives that which is deeper than the physical world. The Moon whispers, something is happening here beyond what your eyes can see, and your mind has yet to grasp. For some, walking through this territory of the mind can lead to great works and life-changing discoveries. For others, it can become a supernatural space full of foreboding and mental trappings. The path of this tarot card runs along the veiled shoreline that separates our world and the ether beyond. This is a place where realities merge. The seen bleeds into the unseen, and the faces in the night seem to constantly shift between angel and demon. In times of uncertainty, it is easy to project fear into the landscape of the unknown. When you feel yourself entering this space, it is time to turn away from negative self-talk and turn toward inner guidance. This card asks you to trust your intuition over your thoughts in times of uncertainty. That's good advice. Eliminating negative self-talk was one of the aspects of the 100-day challenge for hypnoapotheosis. All right, elevating yourself through the use of hypnosis. When the Moon, once again, go ahead and take a deep breath with me, if you would. Hold it for 3, 2, 1. Exhale and command yourself to relax. When the Moon appears, it is time to tune into your most primal self. The 18th card of the major arcana asks us to listen to our instincts and follow our intuition, wherever that journey leads. This is the card of microdosing physicist who unwinds the mysteries of the universe. The delirious musician discovering new ways to merge melody with emotion. The traveler engaged in a shamanic quest for knowledge. Beyond it all, this card asks us to tune into our subconscious, listen beyond our ears, and see beyond our eyes. So hear the inaudible, see the invisible, grasp the intangible. There is something hidden in the aether waiting to be uncovered. The moon's journey should begin from a secure space where your needs are met. From that place of comfort, you can boldly follow your deep-rooted ancient call into the wild. Feel what the cosmos have to offer. Welcome the moon's illogical reign. Bathe in starlight. Scream out loud. When the ancient creature inside of you moves toward the doorway to the unknown, converse, listen, and absorb the wisdom in all that surrounds you. Relaxing in a comfortable posture, settle your mind. Imagine the full moon emerging in a clear, dark sky. Stars twinkling around it. And affirm to yourself, I bravely face my fear, uncertainty, and doubt as I navigate the depths of the unconscious. I trust my intuition and wisdom to guide me as I uncover hidden truth within the mysterious waters of the unknown. Contemplate the imagery of the moon card. Let's have a quick look. Quite often we need to turn away from interaction to a place of unreaction. Very nice, real to real. Good to see you, Senor. Let's pop this up on here real quick. You guys can see the feedback loop. Here's the moon card. Nice ambient setting. Ooh, she's got the lovers down there on the deck, huh? And the moon up here covering her eye. The moon. Animals baying at the moon. Traditional symbolism includes dreams, the dreaming world, psychic perception, nightmares, the spirit world, dreads of the night, spiritual mediumship, illusion, mystery, and the astral world. The astral light, all right? Real light from above and the false representation of that light from below. Pseudo-mysticism. A spiritual crisis in the journey toward union with God. Madness in the face of enlightenment. And the finite mind attempting to grasp the infinite. Card number is 18. Its classical elemental association is water. Influencing element, it says, is light. And the traditional upright meaning is witchcraft, illusion, fear, intuition, wild nature, magic. Ooh, good one for me, right? Must also be associated with the Egyptian god of magic Tahuti and the Roman god of magic Mercury. The occult, mystery, the irrational, dreams, complexity, psychic work, spell work, strangeness, anxiety, deceiving yourself, the subconscious, epiphany, error in judgment, psychic awareness, insecurity, shadow work, secret messages, signs and symbols, hidden truth, and the haunted mind. The archetype in nature is the physical power of the environment to influence physical and psychic life. It represents the third eye chakra, which is in the celestial Dantian, the top Dantian of the Taoist alchemy. And then its astrological correspondence, of course, is Pisces and Neptune. When it comes to a yes-no question, if you draw the moon, it says the answer is no or maybe. The crystals in stone are labradorite, labradorite, lapis lazuli, blue calcite, blue flash moonstone. Ooh, that sounds interesting. Soldalite, blue sapphire. Wow, that would be beautiful. Celestite, azurite, kainite, and others in the Ceylon sapphire and tanzanite. Dumor tearite. Huh. Fascinating. The moon. As we contemplate the moon, dear Wayfarer, let's relax and go through a short hypnotic induction, aka the Tao. Quite often we need to turn away from interaction to a place of unreaction, aka the Tao. Yeah, in the Tao, we have a principle that you're most certainly familiar with, real to real, is Wei Wu Wei. So Wei can mean to do in one sense. It actually means like it's a preposition that means at or like from, because of. So we have like Wei Shema, like is why. So like porque in Spanish. So it's like the por, like the for part, like the at kind of modifier. And so Wei Wu Wei can roughly be translated to mean to do non-doing. The Chinese character Wu, in this sense, with the correct intonation, means not or to do nothing, right? So we have do, not do. And typically, this type of construction in Chinese, if you have an action and then its negative modifier behind it, it will be a question. And so it could be translated into the Shakespearean to do or not to do. But really what it means, according to research of the Tao Te Ching, is to do non-action, which some may misinterpret as meaning to do nothing. However, you're actually doing something, because if you make a choice to not act, then you still are making a choice, right? So the idea is that you allow, this is a time where you allow things to settle, and you allow the intrinsic nature of your own mind, influenced by cosmic energy, to make a response that is kind of a delayed reaction response. So you are responding, but you're responding by waiting for things to emerge. So one idiom, yeah, like water, that's right. So one idiom that would be appropriate here is when the water resides, then the stone will emerge. So in Chinese, the idiom is 水落石出. So when the water settles down, then the stone emerges. So you can imagine water residing. Is that the correct word here? Let me see. Residing. Yeah, when water goes back, the ebb and flow of water. So the water is going down. It's decreasing in level. And as that happens, then stones will emerge. They often quip that when the water goes down, the turtle emerges. And so there's an ancient story about Fuxi was sitting along the riverbank, and as he was sitting along the riverbank, the water was residing, and somehow that word feels wrong there, but I know that it's correct, right? The water does in fact reside. Recess, it could be another word there, but it's I am accurate. It just feels wrong somehow. But anyway, as the water was residing, Fuxi, the ancient prophet, saw a turtle emerge. And on the back of the turtle was the octahedron, or the imprint of the retreat, right, as the water retreats. On the back of the turtle were the 8 trigrams. And so this turtle shell had an imprint of the 8 trigrams. Now, some say it was whorls on the back of like a mystical creature, like a chimera. Some that there's that legendary account, but the most prolific legendary account is that the ancient Chinese during the Shang Dynasty would use turtle shells, and they would bake them near an open fire, and as that happened, they would crack, and then they would learn. They actually learned the Chinese language from watching these cracks in turtle shells and ox bones, and it's how they created the original pictorial language of Chinese. And so this information was said to come from nature, directly from the spirit world, and directly from interaction with the natural world, and it's how they developed the original hieroglyphic language. Subside, yeah, that's a better word. I like that one. Yeah, so as the water subsides, then the ancient magical turtle emerges, and so it's a lovely image to think about, the idea of allowing the subconscious to let things emerge naturally. So, a brief hypnotic induction associated with the tarot card of the moon. I've got this nice little video I pulled off of the Frank Monday channel, where he's looking very fly. And let's see here. I'll rewind it a little bit.
Your tarot card for today, my friends, is the moon.
The tarot card for today, my friends, is the moon. Right? It's the moon, Alice. Okay. So if you are in a relaxed place where it's convenient for you to settle your mind and possibly close your eyes. Obviously, if you're operating heavy machinery, don't do this activity with me. But if you are, again, in a place where it is suitable, settle yourself down. Imagine the 4 elements as we go up from the bottom. So take a deep breath. Hold for a moment and relax. 3, 2, 1. Allow the mind to settle, and let's get into a safe space. If you take a moment to create a safe space for yourself wherever you are, know that you're secure in your being, and feel your body supported by the ground or the chair beneath you. Wherever you're sitting, you can recline and close your eyes if appropriate. Start by taking that deep breath in, slowly exhaling. Then as you return to natural rhythmic breathing, picture a soft, scintillating light surrounding you, creating a cocoon of safety and comfort. As this light envelops you, it calms your mind and opens your heart, making you more receptive to the positive suggestions of the moon. And as you allow your mind to drift into this state of deep, relaxed focus, as I guide you through this induction, let my words wash over you, drawing you into a realm of prime elemental power. Imagine gazing out upon a desolate plain that stretches out before you. The full moon casting her wavering light upon shadows that dance with their own peculiar life. Feel cold dew falling on your skin, the chill creeping into your bones as you sense the presence of a mysterious world. A world that in part is filled with hostile spirits, corpses rising from the grave, the wailing of ghosts and banshees. Allow your awareness to narrow, honing in on the horizon before you. There are blue hills on that distant horizon, and there's a path that winds between two gray towers. You can hear the howling of the wolf and the baying of a dog. Their cries echo across this barren landscape, their voices laced with warnings of unseen dangers. As you gaze upon this otherworldly scene, let your conscious mind begin to drift, to slow, and to settle, surrendering to the pull of a hypnotic trance. Feel the weight of your body sinking, your muscles relaxing, and your eyelids growing heavy. With each passing moment, you feel yourself sinking deeper and deeper into a state of focused, heightened awareness. The boundaries between the physical and the metaphysical begin to blur, and you become attuned to the energies that permeate this desolate plain. But you are safe here, cradled in the embrace of the divine force. You sense the presence of apparitions, of unseen entities watching you from behind the distant towers. A thrill of dread and anticipation courses through you, for you know that to look back would be to court great danger. You might allow the power of the Olympian spirits to flow through you, granting you the wisdom and discernment to navigate this mysterious realm. And when you are ready, when you have fully integrated the lessons of the moon, you will be able to activate this knowledge in your daily life. You will sense the presence of the unseen, hostile spirits that lurk in the shadows, and you will have the tools to protect yourself, to command the primal forces of nature, and to walk the path of the adept. So let your mind sink deeper, deeper into the realms of the occult, for the secrets of the universe await your illumination. And again, profess the affirmation of the moon card. I bravely face my fear, uncertainty, and doubt as I navigate the depths of my unconscious. I trust my intuition and wisdom to guide me as I uncover the hidden truth within the mysterious waters of the unknown. Recount all of the imagery of the moon card at this time. Consider that desolate plain stretched before you, the full moon looking down as if in contemplative hesitation. Under the wavering light of the shadows, on the horizon the blue hills, the path that winds out before, stretched between the gray towers into the distance. On either side, the wolf and the dog howling at the moon. Large black crab emerging from the rivulet into the sands. The heavy cold dew falling. Dread falls upon you, sensing the presence of the mysterious world beyond. And in this pale moonlight, Feel the presence of the apparitions, the hostile spirits, 1,000 corpses rising from their graves, and the wailing of ghosts and banshees. Someone watching from behind the towers, and the danger of looking back. You must push forward with bravery into this otherworldly scene. The path between the towers is a path into the unknown. The dog and wolf are the fears of the natural mind as it approaches the exit, with only reflected light to guide the way. The last reference holds the key to yet another form of its symbolism. This intellectual light is but a reflection, and it cannot show what lies beyond the mystery of the unknown. It illuminates our animal nature, types of which are represented below: the dog, the wolf, and the crab. Out of the deeps symbolize the abyss of water to the land, but as a rule it sinks back to whence it came, subsides, resides as it were. The face of the mind directs a calm gaze upon the distressing scene below. The dew of thought falls down to earth. The messages of this are: peace, be still, and allow the mind to settle. And it may be that there shall come a calm upon the animal nature, while the abyss beneath shall cease from giving up a form. This line references Mark 4:39 in the Bible and may be interpreted as: embrace the faith and courage to stand up to your inner demons. Only then will your deepest fears emerge and be illuminated by the light of the moon. These creatures lose their power in the light. The abyss itself is not dangerous, but it does provide a fertile home to those dark thoughts that crave secrecy and shy away from the light. The waning moon symbolizes hindrance and distraction. The number 18 represents two different lenses of enlightenment from the number 9 and the illumination of the Hermit card. The cosmic droplets raining down to the earth are golden pieces of the moon's reflected wisdom, divine knowledge perceived through the bent and scattered fragments of light. The moon wears a mask indicating that things are not as they seem. The moonlight casts strange shadows and half-truths. The moon illuminates the path in the distance leading to the higher consciousness. A tamed dog and an untamed wolf represent the dual nature of man. The lobster is the shadow self, the unconscious, rising up from the depths of the abyss. Water is a symbol of the intuition, subconscious mind, and the heightened emotional state. Dear Wayfarer, we have now traversed the moon card. And I will check the chat to see how y'all good-looking sex people are doing out there in Happy Land. Michael Stevens is tuning in and says that he is, in fact, a Pisces. Good to see you, Michael Stevens. Welcome to the transmission. I will do a quick channel update here as we transition into the next part of the show. So, Grand Wizard of the Esoteric Order of Dagon, friend and well-wisher Frank Monday, coming at you with another 100-day challenge starting on March 22nd. As we move into Aries, we'll be focused on psionics, and there will be an entire course syllabus for the 100-day challenge at buymeacoffee.com/Frank Monday, so you can check it out there. You can check out the older 100-day challenges as well. Hit the likes for the YouTube algobots if it's your first time. Don't let it be your last time. Bear with me if you would, as I like to begin the show with a short prayer, which I have dubbed the Adoration of Praxis. and it comes to us from the Arbitel of Magic. So if you know it, say it with me. Holy art thou, Lord of the universe, the vast and the mighty one, creator of heaven and earth, maker of all things visible and invisible, master of both the light and the darkness, he who was, is, and shall be. We adore thee and we invoke thee. Send us one of your divine spiritual agents, our holy guardian angel, to protect and guide us through the innumerable snares of the earthly sphere, and a cleansing wind to disperse all negativity and endless human opinion, which of course all of you know can be so odious, malodorous, and nefarious, just isn't useful, right? Teach us those secret things which we must know for the completion of the great work and the glory of thine ineffable name, Adonai. So it is commanded and confirmed, so mote it be. Amen. All right, good magic. Remember, O neophyte, goodness alone is power. Silence is strength. The will shall regaineth omnipotence, and love lieth at the foundation. Louds equipped in the Tao Te Ching, those who know do not speak, and those who speak do not know. So carpe diem, wayfarer. We must no se te ipsum, tu es Dios. Okay, so we got a little more information to cover here on the moon card. And yeah, I made this short, I don't know, quite a long time ago on the moon card. I think it's kind of funny.
Tarot card for the day, my friends, is the moon. Listen to the body and its unique wisdom. Rely upon your inner resources as your best source of security and wisdom. Subsisto fortuitus, good magic.
So funny.
Wisdom.
Yeah, that is
Subsisto
good
fortuitus, good magic.
Such a goofball, huh?
Listen to the body and its unique.
All right, I just wanted to get that moon image on there. For some reason, StreamYard has a hard time letting me load. Like, you can't load pictures. You have to put them into a PDF form, and then you're able to load them. But you can't just directly source pictures as you're using StreamYard. I guess you probably can if you have the full version, like the paid for version, but I don't. I only have the free version of StreamYard. Yeah, so lots of good stuff to look into. It seems like I was able to do it with the Temperance card somehow. I don't remember how I did that, but maybe I'll be able to figure it out again so that I can access my tarot cards like this. So you can see I got the Temperance card here, and it's it's perfect. All right, it pops right up on the screen. And I tried to do this with the Moon card this morning, and for some reason it didn't work. So I just I downloaded this short of Frank Monday being an absolute goofball. Trying to get back to where I want it. Oh no. Hanging out in a bathrobe. Yeah, there it is. Okay, so there's the moon card. There's the image I wanted. Yeah, we've got the wolf on one side, which is the more primal, animalistic nature. Then we got the dog on the other side, which is the domesticated, cultivated nature. We can also always see these types of yin-yang expressions as the analytical engineering type mind, more cultivated, more focused on practical results, and then the more primal, intuitive, artistic side of the mind, which is more interested in getting in flow with nature, right? So the wild wolf type creature is more of a Taoist type ideology, and then the domesticated dog type creature is more of your Confucian ethical type thing. So the Chinese, they like to embrace what they call the three legs of the cauldron, where you have Taoism to help your wild individualistic side, And then you have Confucianism for your cultivated, what's the word I'm looking for, rather than individual, collectivist side. And then you have Buddhism for this other side, for your, what they say is Buddhism serves those who are interested in the afterlife, right? Maybe you used some temperance to do the temperance card. Yeah, maybe, right? Good magic. I was focused on temperance. And with the moon card, I'm a little more on the wild side, right? Yeah, so I'll go ahead and finish off the text for this card, the meaning. So now that we have traversed, or let me give you my best Israel Regardi voice, right? Now that we have traversed the steps which the spirit descends in its gradual and utter fall towards the material world, all is now ended. The spirit is completely materialized, and the change is indicated by the 18th card, a meadow feebly lighted by the moon. The light, the symbol of the soul, no longer reaches us directly. The material world is only lit by a reflection. It's interesting how much like modern cosmology they put into some of these interpretations, even 200 years ago. Right? I find that kind of fascinating. Let me dial back this music just a little more too. The meadow is enclosed by a tower on each side. Drops of blood are falling from the moon. Actually, those would be yods, right? The Hebrew character for yod. And if you've ever done early morning qigong, like if you go out pre-dawn and you're doing your kung fu out in the courtyard or whatever, that yud energy, right? That spiral, almost like panspermia. If you look up, it's actually descending from heaven. That's why when they were out in the desert and they saw manna descending from heaven, that's actually like a real ongoing thing. All you have to do is, open your spiritual vision and attune yourself to it. But there's constantly that manna falling from the sky. It's most easy to view the cosmic particle, like I said, in the pre-dawn gloaming. So as your eyes adjust to natural light, you'll be able to see that manna falling from heaven if you do qigong in the morning. And that's what we do with Chinese qigong, is we collect that early morning. They call it jade dew in Chinese, so it is a form of heavenly dew. The material world is the last point which the spirit can reach. It can descend no lower. Well, it can. Like after death, you can descend into the Qliphoth if you don't cultivate your spirit and you just become a hungry ghost, right? This idea is shown by the boundaries of the field. The drops of yods represent the descent of spirit into matter. A path sprinkled with drops of blood winds its way into the horizon. In the center of the field, a dog and a wolf are howling at the moon, and a crayfish or lobster is climbing out of the water between the two animals. The entry of the spirit into matter is so great a fall that everything seemed to be working together to make it happen. Servile spirits, the dog, savage souls, the wolf, and crawling creatures, the crayfish, are all present, watching the fall of the soul and hoping to aid in its destruction. Wow, it's really a powerful card, the moon, huh? Significators of the moon are the end of divine materialization, the final point of involution and chaos. It's the end of the materialization of man, the material body and its passions, and the end of physical materialization and matter. That comes to us from the Tarot of the Bohemians, 1892. Well, there you have it. It also represents the twilight time. Again, it could be the gloaming, and it's absolutely night, right? It's definitely pre-dawn, and we don't even have, other than the reflected light of the sun on the moon, we don't have any indication of day coming yet, right? So really, in the abyss of darkness. And one last little bit of commentary here from Arthur Edward Wyatt. and the pictorial key to the tarot. This is on his behest. Pamela Coleman Smith painted this image. So Arthur Edward Wyatt, the designer of this tarot deck, scholar of the Kabbalah, and he gave a detailed description of each of the cards. And for this one, let me see. I don't have it open right here. Okay, we'll skip it then. No big deal. We've got plenty of information on the moon for today. I will finish my reflection on the moon by looking at a little more about the sign of Pisces and the symbol of the fish. Let's see here. I think I gotta drop some of these things. Already my my laptop is not responding, so I'm going to drop that video. Concerning the dog and the wolf, Dr. Yang Jingming, and he spoke of the emotions are likened to a monkey, and the mind likened to a horse. Yeah, we interesting. You read Dr. you read Dr. Yang Jingming. He's a great kung fu guy, man. That's like harkens back to my teenage years when I was reading old Dr. Yang Jingming. He did some really great books on Tai Chi and stuff, and internal alchemy and Qigong. Yeah, so, and he quotes a lot of the great Taoist texts in his transmission. You know, I actually met that guy in Boston. I went to visit his kung fu school because I wanted to check him out and see if he was the real deal. And he was all right. Kind of weak for a kung fu practitioner, but he focuses mostly on the Chinese medicine aspect of it and Qigong and stuff like that. But he wasn't all he was cracked up to be. I guess I was mid-20s, so I was kind of, you know, feeling my oats. But it seems like he was only like 4 foot something, 4'10", maybe 4'11". And yeah, he had a studio in Boston. Great stuff, though. I went to visit all the masters when I was reading their books that were active and alive at the time, because I wanted to check them out directly, you know. Sometimes they say you should never meet the master, but no, his depth and breadth of knowledge, again, most of it comes just from directly pulling the Chinese material into English, which was great, though. He did a wonderful service for humanity in doing that and making those teachings available in the early days. What we're saying, the emotions likened to a monkey. Yeah, they refer to it as the monkey mind, right? And then the mind likened to a horse. Yeah, and the horse can't be useful unless it is bridled and harnessed, right? So if you allow the mind to run wild on the open field, then you don't get much good work out of it. But when you get down to business and you bridle and focus the mind, then it will be able to plow the field and do a lot of good work for you. Yeah, so that's a good analogy. I like that. Thank you for bringing that forward. And that makes me want to dig out all my old Dr. Yang Jingming's books and check them out. I do believe instead of TW, that should be a J, though. Unless he was using TS, because there was an older system of Chinese pinyin that used TS rather than J, I think. Or it seems like they used TS for X, which now they use X in modern romanization of Chinese. But yeah, some still reference the old Wade Giles system, which was British, I believe. The American system that they did under the new Chinese Republic, I think, is better. It's easier to understand for me. Yeah, JWING maybe. Yeah, Jingming. No worries, man. Doesn't matter. I recognize the name. I recognize the fellow. Yeah. But that'll help other people find him too. So the symbol, it says, is the fish. Interesting. I believe isn't it 2 moons connected by a horizontal line. The zodiac sign Pisces is embodied by two fish, and its glyph represents an image of these fish linked together for eternity. It's important to know that it is not just one fish, but two. So one fish is swimming upstream and one fish is swimming downstream, right? They are a representation of Pisces' ability to exist simultaneously in both a conscious and subconscious world. As the last sign of the zodiac, Pisces is also connected to the idea of cycles, that every ending is a new beginning, and which is represented by the two fishes swimming in opposite directions. The ruling planet is Neptune. Hold on just a second. So let's see here. Neptune is fantastical and dreamy and rules over the zodiac sign of Pisces. In Roman mythology, Neptune is the god of the sea, and the planet Neptune's influence is just like the vast, flowing nebulousness of the ocean. The currents of Neptune allow Pisces to swim through a never-ending world of imagination and spirituality where anything is possible. That's fun. That makes me think of H.P. Lovecraft's The Shadow over Innsmouth and connecting with the deep ones, right? And you get that Innsmouth look. Pisces' ruling house is the 12th house of the subconscious. So when you're doing your internal path working, you can imagine the entire house system of the zodiac as a crown, right? So as you see this symbol here, you can imagine this as a crown. So if we're facing due south, and then we have the 12 o'clock, it could be the 11 o'clock point, right? But yeah, it's like the 12, from 11 to 12, it'd be that hour on the crown. You can imagine that gemstone there, and the sun and the moon oscillating or circulating, rotating, circumventing, encircling that zodiacal crown around the head. It says it's time for deep reflection as we move into the 12th house of the subconscious, ruled by Pisces. The 12th sign of the zodiac represents your connection to spirituality, the deep and personal emotions you feel, and the openness of your heart. Pisces' understanding of quiet contemplation and emotional speculation is heavily reflected in the 12th house of the subconscious. This house is all about taking time for healing and rejuvenation before beginning anew. That's good stuff. I like that. They say nobody will sleep more than a Pisces, right? Because they love to dream and be in dreamland. The element of water flows through Pisces as a wave of devoted empathy and intuition. The water element is all about our emotions, and Pisces is known for its deeply sensitive and spiritual connection to its own feelings and the feelings of others. As large as the ocean, Pisces' heart is capable of expressing infinite compassion and love toward all beings. My cup of hot black coffee has cooled to less than room temperature. I guess it can only cool to room temperature, huh? But it seems like it's getting even cooler due to the fact that there's some wintry wind seeping in through the window near me. The mystical and magical nature of Pisces is enhanced by the lightest tints of green and the color of life. Light green represents renewal and inspiration, encouraging the healing and rejuvenating energies that Pisces is known for. The softer the green, the more Piscean it becomes. Wow, that's interesting. My son told me just yesterday that he prefers light green to dark green. He's like, for some reason, he's never liked the the color dark green, which I like all colors of green. I especially like dark green. I have a sweater hanging up near me. I've got two sweaters. One is light green, like a lime green almost, and the other is dark green. And I think they're both extremely beautiful. Pisces is a mutable sign. The cold and darkness of winter begin to melt away as Pisces season begins. And as the last of winter, Pisces is a mutable sign that eagerly looks forward to change. The mutable sign represents a place where we can get our bearings before starting a new phase. Since Pisces is not only the last sign of winter, but also the last sign of the entire zodiac, this mutable energy encourages you to contemplate where you've been and where you're going next, so you're ready to blossom as spring begins again. And of course, if you're born on the cusp, which I'm not, I'm born like dead center of Pisces. A little bit of information for you there, and I think that's about it, man. That finishes us off. So what zodiac sign are you? Are you a Pisces, or are you one of the others? You can get some more insight here on tarot.com, a wonderful website. It's got a lot of free tools. It does seem to have a lot of pop-up and advertisings, though, so you'll have to kind of sort your way through that as you go through the different things. But yeah, that wraps us up for Pisces, everyone. I hope you enjoyed the presentation of Pisces. Let's have a quick look at the chat room here and see what everybody's talking about out there in Happy Land. Real to Real says that some place Neptune as Hokmah on the Hermetic Tree of Life. The residence of the fixed stars, using the imagination to make pictures and stories interpreted from the stars. Very creative. Neptunian, perhaps. Yeah, is Neptune on Hokmah or Hesed? So as we come down the Tree of Life, we have Keter, the crown, and then Hokmah is wisdom, and Binah, understanding. Is that correct? And then Binah is our first primary planet. Yeah, so Neptune is out beyond the start of the material universe at Saturn. And then the next one, Hesed, would be Jupiter. That's right. You're right. And then as we go left across the Tree of Life to Geburah, we've got Mars. And then down from Geburah into Tifereth, representing the sun. And then Tiferet. And then Netzach is Venus. Over to Hod, Mercury, right? And then Yesod is the moon. And then finally Malkut, the prime material plane. Yeah, so Uranus as Da'at, right? And then Pluto would be Keter, or Pluto's just not included, I guess, because it's not really a planet. And on the Hermetic Tree of Life, I don't think they typically include the newly discovered planets, right? So we just have the 5 primary ones: Saturn, Jupiter, what did I say there a moment ago? Mars, Venus, and Mercury, right? And then the sun and the moon. Yeah, so if we include the newer additions, according to Crowley, yeah, that's right. Yeah, Crowley was doing some good work, huh? Mr. Crowley, what went on in your head? Yeah, that's about all I got for you guys today. I'm just hanging out here at the house. Did some kung fu practice and some breakfast. Yeah, Keter would be Pluto. It's good magic, and it's interesting too if you think about that. Like all of Lovecraft's Plutonian connections, that would make Pluto kind of a really not, kind of a dire thing, right? Like that first manifestation of the elder gods as they send their crab beings into our realm. The creators, looking for those dark Plutonian stones. The black stone of where was the black stone with its ancient hieroglyphics, its curvilinear hieroglyphics. Um, yeah, so Yuggoth, that's what Pluto is. Pluto is the dark obsidian planet of Yuggoth. And the Migo, did the Migo come from Yuggoth? The crab creatures in, what was that story? The Whisperer in Darkness. That was the one where he talked about the discovery of Pluto. And it's crazy to think about, but actually the Whisperer in Darkness was written before Pluto was actually discovered. And he said that the entities on Pluto would increase their vibrations so that people on Earth would become aware of it. And I think it was 5 years later, after he wrote The Whisperer in Darkness, that Pluto was actually discovered in astronomy. Like, we're talking 1920s, right? Or when they classified it as a planet. And then, of course, in modern times, it's been removed as a planet. I'm not exact if I have that 100% correct or not, but I'm pretty sure that they're right there at the exact same in time. But it seems like Lovecraft's story came before the actual discovery of Pluto, which is pretty amazing. Yeah, or right at that time, maybe he was using the discovery to do his. That's where he got his idea for the writing, or maybe it was they were already looking for it, I think. Yeah, I love me some Lovecraft. Yeah, so The Whisperer in Darkness, that's a good one. And it's interesting too how in The Whisperer in Darkness, how they traveled between the realms, right? They had fissions and surgeries so exact that removing a human brain from its body and putting it into a metallic cylinder for space travel was no big deal. Like, it's a daily routine. It was so scary too. Like, I've been through that story hundreds of times, but each time it just, oh god, it like, because somehow it feels like it's already been done, right? It's got that very Matrix-esque sense of these, otherworldly creatures that remove human brains and put them in a fluid and then keep them attached and use them for their own purposes. It's like, oh no, are we all hooked up on some machine with just our brain? Have you read The Dark Lord by Peter Lavender? I don't think that I have. I'll have to look into it though. Is it a good one? Let me check it out real quick. I'll pull it up. I got a recommendation from a listener just recently. Oh no, my connection has timed out. It says not too long ago. Lady Paranorma, or Lady Schadenfreude, and she recommended. Whoops, what happened there? Oh well, I think it'll work. But anyway, I'll check it out. Let me see here. Where's my screen? It's a good one, yeah. The Dark Lord. I'll have to definitely check it out, man. I'm getting ready for my semester of literature, and one edition she recommended was The Monk. And it seems like I've read this one at some point, with an introduction by Stephen King. It says by M.G. Lewis. Looks like a really good one, though. When The Monk first appeared in 1796, imagine that, over 200 years ago, critics were shocked and outraged that a member of parliament should publish a novel filled with blasphemy, rape, murder, incest, rotting corpses, and devil worship. Today, it's regarded as one of the finest Gothic horror novels ever written. Written when he was only 19, too. Like, some of Lovecraft's greatest stories, or I think, is some of his first ones, like The Alchemist and Dagon. Dagon's, I believe, a poem and a short story, but some of my favorites. And he was only like 17 at the time. And then Robert Bloch, also one of his one of my favorite tales by him, The Shambler from the Stars. He was also 19, I think, or 19 or 20 when he wrote that. So it's amazing how well these guys were already knocking out good horror fiction back then. Written when he was only 19, it centers on Ambrosio, a monk renowned for his piety who finds himself faced with temptation when his passions are aroused by Matilda, a beautiful girl who entered the monastery disguised as a boy. But after he succumbs to her charms, Ambrosio's lust for sensual gratification quickly becomes insatiable, and he begins a precipitous descent into depravity, indulging in sorcery, demonic rituals, rape, and murder as he seeks to sate his it should be satiate, huh? Sate his unquenchable desires. Looks like a really good one. Let's check out the one you just mentioned. I'll have to pop it in here though. Yeah, this internet's probably not going to respond really good. It doesn't usually do very well. I'll remove that for a second. So what were we going to say about Lovecraft, Crowley, and Kenneth Grant? I've got some Kenneth Grant books, and I added them to my library when I was really young. But for some reason, I never really got into his writing style. I don't know why. Maybe I should have a look at it now that it's been 30 years since I got. Even more than that. Good God, we're talking 40 years now since I first got those books. So maybe I would have a different perspective on. I definitely would have a different perspective on them now that I'm a little older, right? The Dark Lord. And you said it was by. Gotta double check here. The Dark Lord by Peter Lavender. Huh, interesting. I see a couple of other Dark Lords by other people. Peter Lavender. Oh, there's even a PDF, free PDF right off the internet. I can just read it with no excessive charges. When was it written? Let's have a look. Wow, not long ago, 1987 it says. The Dark Lord, H.P. Lovecraft, Kenneth Grant, and Aleister Crowley, huh? It says one of the most famous yet least understood manifestations of thelemic thought has been the works of Kenneth Grant, the British cultist and one-time initiate of Aleister Crowley, who discovered a hidden world within the primary source materials of Crowley's Aeon of Horus. Wow, sounds right up my lane, man. This is exactly what I'm doing. I'm finding those hidden worlds in Lovecraft. So yeah, this looks like some pretty good stuff here, man. Thank you for the suggestion. They got it classified under spiritual growth. Interesting. Okay, so you said it's a good one about Crowley, Lovecraft, and Grant. Me neither, but the stuff about Crowley and Lovecraft is quite remarkable. Yeah, fascinating. Good suggestion, reel to reel. Let's have a quick look at it together here. If this PDF will ever open, you can see how slow my internet works here in China. I guess it's better than a kick in the ass, though. Right? At least I'm still connected to the internet. The Dark Lord by Peter Lavender. I think this is the whole book. I can just click on save, and I'm going to be in it to win it, man. Yeah, gods, the beasts, and men, unspeakable cults. Wow, is this the button where I save it? Yeah, save that bad boy. This will be my my reading for this semester, man. While I cruise around the academy and teach literature. Good fun. What do I just hit save? Yeah, I hit save, and it looks like I've got it down there. Yeah, that looks like Crowley's Thoth right there. His Thoth Tarot deck, kind of. I don't think, is that the double card from the Tahuti deck? Kind of looks like it. It might not be though. There's a little. That looks a lot like that's Scorpio, but it looks a lot like my symbol that I used to use to sign my name on my occultic paintings. Let's look at the forward here a little bit. One of the least understood manifestations of Thelemic thought may be found in the works of Kenneth Grant, the British occultist and one-time intimate. I thought it said initiate. It says intimate of Aleister Crowley, who discovered a hidden world within the primary source materials of Crowley's Aeon of Horus, using complementary texts from such disparate authors as Lovecraft, Parsons, Austin Osman Spare, and Charles Stanfield's Frater Acid. Grant formulated a system of magic that expanded upon that delineated in the rituals of the OTO, a system that includes elements of Tantra, Wudang, and in particular that of the Schlangelcraft recension in the Necronomicon, all woven together in a dark tapestry of power and illumination. Author Peter Levenda posits a mystical alliance between the thematic content of Lovecraft's fiction and the magical writings of the primary exponent of the Law of Thelema. Levenda explores the roots of the beliefs and doctrines Crowley utilized to develop his systems, and he plumbs the depths of Lovecraft's fears. The reader may expect to be introduced to yoga, Buddhism, Gnosticism, or rather he says to yoga and Buddhism, Gnosticism. Oh no, is the PDF truncated? Looks like it is, huh? Maybe it picks up on the next page. No, it doesn't. It cuts off. Sometimes these free PDFs will do that. Like, it looks like a big portion of the text is missing right here. So I think that's probably true. And that might have to find a better copy of the PDF. Ibis Press, Lake Worth, Florida. Good people there. Published in 2013. Yeah, I don't think that's right, because it said a moment ago that it was published in 1980. 2013, is that right? Yeah, I guess it might be. All rights reserved. You can't look at it on the internet. Yeah, well, we're looking at it for the sake of education. So yes, we can look at it. Oh, The Beast in the Cave. Yeah, that's a good one, right? Strange Aeons, the Necronomicon, Gnosis, Sons of God, Daughters of Men, The Dark Lord, Chapter 7, the name, the title of the book, right? Sri Chakra, Necronomicon Sigil. That's the Elder Sign, right? The sigil of the Necronomicon. It's kind of Astaroth's goetic symbol. Preface is from Liber Ashavel Capricorn Pneumatica. Now shalt thou adore me, who am the eye and the tooth, the goat of the spirit, the Lord of creation, the eye and the triangle, the silver star that ye adore. I am Baphomet. This is the eightfold world, the eightfold word that shall be equilibrated with the three. I am the hideous God, and who mastereth me is uglier than I. Whom I love, I chastise with many rods. This is a work of heresy, a book meant to challenge. What else would the reader expect from that dark lord who inhabits the most primal and hidden depths of the unconscious? Yeah, this is really in line with the moon card being and moving into Pisces. Yeah, so perfect timing for reading this, right? Yeah, I'm going to get in it to win it, man. I'm going to check that out for sure. Thank you for that, Reel to Reel. That's that'll be a good addition to my bookshelf. And if it was published in 2013, then I definitely had no idea, because that's only 10 short years ago, right? And I haven't been in an occult bookshop, good God, with like any regularity. I visited the Atlantis. It's either the Atlantis or the Atlantean, the Atlantis bookshop in London a couple of years ago with my son. We were over there to see the museum in London, the Great British Museum. And yeah, thank you for that. I appreciate that, man. I'll get into that. We were over there visiting London to visit Trinity. No, Trinity's in Dublin. What college? King's College and College of London. And hold on, my thing is got some background noise there. Yeah, so we were over there to visit, and there was where the Golden Dawn like first assembled in the basement of this old bookstore. It's like over 100 years old or whatever, maybe 120 years, something like that. But we met the daughter of like, or the granddaughter or whatever of the woman who first originally ran it, and there was like original paintings of MacGregor Mathers and some of Crowley's old accoutrements, like some of his magical implements, I think one of his staves or something. And there was just a bunch of old Golden Dawn regalia that was still in the old bookstore, and it was filled with modern occult publications and some really, like, you know, old texts, some old grimoires and stuff. And it was really nice to visit, but like, you know, you're just there for a couple of hours. You can't really look around and enjoy it. But if we had a wonderful occult bookstore, it would be nice. And those things are becoming rarer and rarer, right? It says, in the Dark Lord, Peter Lavender has once again applied his considerable erudition and creative mind and pen to the unity of various streams of consciousness, describing what he calls the tip of an eldritch iceberg. Lavender posits a mystical alliance between the thematic content of the fiction of Lovecraft and magical writings of Crowley. I felt some connection there too between the two, and they're kind of riffing on each other, right? Like back in that whole era, all those guys were in communication with each other, and there's some indication that maybe Crowley and Lovecraft crossed paths at one point in New York. I had seen a reference to that somewhere. I don't know if it's accurate or not, but makes a compelling case for the confluence of events that existed in real time between their efforts. Crowley is known as the prophet of the new aeon. I always call Lovecraft the prophet of the new aeon, man, because it seems like everything he wrote, like the Mountains of Madness, is everything that we're going through right now. Like the idea of these otherworldly creatures appearing from non-Euclidean dimensions, and all the interest in Antarctica and stuff like that. But yeah, Crowley's known as the prophet of the Aeon, inaugurated in 1904, the founder of the magical system of Thelema. His sweeping intellect and spiritual exaltation allowed him to explore and synthesize all the world's then known sacred beliefs and practices, and distilled their essence into his own system of scientific illuminism. The method of science, the aim of religion, the scientific illuminism has proven to be a perfect paradigm for our modern world, in which images and information travel with the speed of the electron, and the established religions have become increasingly irrelevant. The dimensions explored by Lovecraft's fevered imagination continue to haunt and resonate in popular culture nearly a century later. Lovecraft's words and phantasms are a staple of derivative modern fiction, graphic novels, art, film, and music. The extraordinary popularity of Simon's Necronomicon, over 1 million copies in print since 1977, is a case in point. The talented painter H.R. Geiger has brought Lovecraft's terrifying visions to life in his own artistic Necronomicon. Yeah, I've seen that. That is really good too. The brilliant Australian artist Rosaline Norton, whose compelling paintings of the Dark Lord. So the Dark Lord is, are we thinking that it's, what's that guy's name? Oh, that creature from Lovecraft's writings, Nyarlathotep. Would that be who that is? Is that who he's referencing? Is Nyarlathotep? Kenneth Grant, the British writer and occultist, shared the fascination with both Crowley and Lovecraft. Grant is celebrated the world over for his biographies of Crowley and Austin Osman Spare. Would that be read Spar or Spare? It looks like Spare, right? Spare, Austin Osman Spare, who each served as the teachers and guides to the young magician. Yet in Grant's writing on the Typhonian gnosis that captivates Levenda's attention in these pages, Grant's embrace of the hidden byways of imagery and symbolism, and the obscure and antinomian practices of widely divergent peoples the world over evoke the darker dimensions of the shadow self of humankind. He conducts a veritable symphony with strains of religious and esoteric knowledge as he explores the roots and beliefs and doctrines Crowley utilized to develop his system of Thelema. The reader may be expected to be introduced to yoga, Buddhism, Tantra, Gnosticism, Kabbalah, alchemy, Egyptology, Confucianism, Taoism, Afro-Caribbean magic, as well as the more familiar Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. You will walk through ancient Sumerian temples of the 3rd millennium BCE, participate in magical circles of the 19th century Golden Dawn, and witness contemporary rites of the Typhonian order. You will learn details about the shadow side of myth that never quite made it into your copy of Larousse or Bullfinch. Nor is Levenda's discussion of Tantra what your mother understood as the ritual of the 5 M's. Yeah, this book will be of interest to people across a variety of disciplines. Fans of Lovecraft will find his worldview explored in ways that may shock or frighten. They will learn that Lovecraft's fearful fantasies may have a greater connection to reality than they might have hoped. Oh yeah, absolutely. Like, I've been studying Lovecraft for going on, like, religiously for going on, like, 20 years now. Austin Osman Spur. Yeah, hey, welcome to the chat, KJV. I do believe you are also known as London. Is that correct? And if I recall correctly, you are a proper British, an Englishman. So welcome, good to see you, amigo. We have been exploring the tarot card and its associations, and we did a bit of a hypnotic induction related to the tarot, and then I just got turned on to a wonderful book I'm probably going to start digging into later today from Reel to Reel here. He gave the suggestion to read The Dark Lord by Peter Levenda, and yeah, so it just came out in 2013. Right, hot off the press, as they say, and yeah, it's right up my alley, man. It's Crowley, Lovecraft, and Grant. Again, I never got much into Kenneth Grant. I didn't know much about him. I was more into Israel Regardie. Right, Francis Israel Regardie was also associated with Crowley, but I think he was the more rational side of that whole everything that came out of that era. But I like both of their writings. I do prefer Regardie, but no reason why I can't get into this, man. This looks really good. When you get a synthesis of Crowley, Lovecraft, and Grant, then you can temper it with a bit of Regardie, and you'll have yourself some perfect stuff. Unlike Peter, he says, I am a member of what he refers to as the caliphate of the OTO. To be fair, the storm of critics who may question my presence in these pages, let me begin by saying that Peter is my friend. I'm not sure who's writing this forward. Let me see if it mentioned. It doesn't seem like it just launched into it. It doesn't seem like it said who was actually writing this introduction to the book. Maybe it does. Maybe I overlooked it. James Wasserman, Dancing with the Dark Lord. The preface is by James Wasserman. Not another guy I'm familiar with. That's okay though. That's how you familiarize yourself with people. You know, you get in it. Yeah, it's got to be Nyarlathotep is the Dark Lord, right? The King in Yellow. The Dark Lord presents perhaps the most compelling and encyclopedic compilation of this archetype, the nightmare figure of humanity's earliest and most persistent childhood fears. Yet at the end, when we do at last encounter him, who will we meet but ourselves? I have hidden beneath a mask. I am black and terrible God. With courage conquering fear shall ye approach me. Ye shall lay down your heads upon mine altar, expecting the sweep of the sword. But the first kiss of love shall be radiant on your lips, and all my darkness and terror shall turn to light and joy. This is from Liber Zadai vel Hamus Hermeticus. Liber Zadai. That sounds like Crowley's writing. It seems like he named all of his Libers by the Hebrew alphabet, right? You have Liber Resh, Liber Zadai. What was the first Liber we had mentioned here? Liber, let me see, I'll get back up there. Liber Aesh vel Capricorni Pneumatici. Yeah, he always used a lot of Latin and Hebrew to name his stuff. Liber Resh vel Helios, right? Is that the book of the adorations? The 4 adorations. Starts with the beast in the cave. The creature I killed, the strange beast of the unfathomed cave, was, or at one time, been a man. Yeah, and when he finally finds the beast in the cave, right, he's just looking into a mirror, isn't he? It seems like that's where he ends up, facing off with a mirror and seeing himself in the mirror. Real to Real says, last time I read Grant, I found him difficult to figure out his train of thought, but that was years ago. Perhaps with experience, his work may be more discernible. Yeah, I think that's what it was for me too. Like when I was younger, some people, you know, especially when I first started reading occult literature, like in my mid-teens, you know, mid to late teens, like high school, junior high and high school, yeah, most of it was unintelligible to me, but some of it at face value I could grasp. Like all of Arthur Edward Wyatt's writing, for some reason I just jived with it. I liked his flamboyant style, and I liked learning all of the new words, and he has a very Christian undertone to his writing, so he gives credit to God in all things, which kind of jived with me because I was raised Christian. And it didn't seem hard to approach, and at the same time, like it was such a combination of the profane and the sacred. Like he's giving all credit to God, but at the same time, he's directly facing off against demons in his magical circle, and he's got no compunctions about it. You know, it's like these are demons we need to deal with, and we need to use the rod of God in order to get them under control. And so it was good fun for me. Whereas Crowley, he didn't seem like he was trying to like win the spiritual battle. He was just like giving into the dark spirits, and he's, you know, it's almost like let the demons possess you and then you'll have great power. You know, I'm the beast and all of this, and engaging in orgiastic sex and, you know, drug abuse and stuff like that. So documents, okay, aka Class A documents according to Thelema are Liber Zadai and Liber El Ligas, etc. in the holy books of Thelema. Okay, yeah, again, I don't know as much about the Thelema because I wasn't inclined to study it, and mostly due to the fact that I didn't really like respect Crowley as an individual, and so I felt somehow that his message was tainted by his decadence. But again, that's when I was younger, so looking at it now that I'm older, I might find more life in it. I was more inclined towards like more traditional Golden Dawn studies, and even like, again, the Hermetic Brotherhood of Luxor with Pascal Beverly Randolph and some of the others. And of course, you know, it all kind of mitigated and led me to Poke Runyon, who also was, you know, in the 70s and 80s, he was big into the orgiastic, you know, sex parties and really, you know, taking psychedelics and getting in there to win it, which I don't think is necessarily necessary or essential. And I think that it's less powerful to approach magic that way. In the end, like you're just kind of cheating yourself out of the greater power in life. But at the same time, what do I know? Let's read a little more of this. The writer H.P. Lovecraft, considered by many to be the father of modern Gothic horror, and this early attempt at writing supernatural fiction was entitled The Beast in the Cave. Yeah, that's just like one of his first stories, so he was like only 19, 20 maybe. As we know, Crowley called himself the Beast and identified with the Beast in the Book of Revelations. In Lovecraft's stories, written when he was only 14 years old, that's when he wrote it. Wow. The Beast is at first thought to be some sort of monster living in the bowels of the earth, but instead it's revealed to be a human being. Yeah, and it's just a man looking in a mirror, right? Or something like that. I think, no, maybe that's a different story. Maybe that's the temple. That might have been the temple. As Lovecraft's stories often involve dream communications and the transmission of information by psychic means, or through the visions of artists and other sensitive souls, could it be possible that Lovecraft, an artist himself, as a writer of imaginative fiction, picked up the events of Cairo that were taking place at the very same time when he was composing and writing his story about the Beast, who was really a man? As outlandish as the suggestion may seem, it is reinforced by further evidence in Lovecraft's own stories, as we shall see. Yeah, I think there's got to be some mention of Nyarlathotep, the King in Yellow, at some point, because that was probably Aiwass, the creature that visited Crowley in the London Museum when he first saw the Stele of Revealing, that ancient Egyptian tablet. But before we dive into the strange and otherworldly material of Lovecraft, Crowley, and Kenneth Grant, we should set the stage for what follows. There are two sides in life: the bright side, where we live and work every day, and the dark side, what Kenneth Grant calls the night side of the Kabbalistic tree of life. So that would be the Klippot, right? Spies know this. Criminals and police who fight them know this. Sexual predators know this. Serial killers know this. And business people know this. Politicians know this. And occultists know this. Everyone who has a secret they desperately want to keep knows this. The dark side of politics to religion. Fons est aut ergo, the prima materia. Yeah, I'll definitely have to get into this, man. This looks really good. A lot of new info here. It's wonderful, too, that someone has picked up this story. It's interesting to me, too, that like I've been here isolated in China, and my resurged interest in Lovecraft's writings occurred prior to it going mainstream. So I began researching it again about 20 years ago now, and became really interested in like the canter of his writing and the poetry and stuff. Like even his one of his original poems when he was quite young, Nemesis. Like I started taking Nemesis and writing my own poetry based on the canter and imagery that was in Nemesis, and I came up with some pretty good stuff, like quite advanced. I mean, obviously, the difference between a younger person and then someone who's a little older. Yeah, so it was good inspiration and like as a muse. But what's my point? Oh, and then later I only became aware that the Western world had a resurgence of interest in some of his writings, and they even made like a Stranger Things, and then like the whole TV show they tried to do, Lovecraft Country, which I only watched the first season of Stranger Things, and I never watched any of Lovecraft Country because I it's not going to compare with my own researches and studies and my own dream work. But and from what I heard, I didn't miss anything by not watching it. They ended up doing a horrible job with it, I guess. But yeah, so these things, they do occur like simultaneously. Like, even though I'm over here and I'm totally isolated from the Western world and just surrounded by all things Chinese, like, I still felt this pull, this allure to the dark, shadowy depths of Dreamland. And part of that probably is because I am a Pisces, right? And Pisces definitely have something to do with that. Thelema calls itself a new religion, and at the heart of this new religion is the very darkness of which we speak. There is a general desire among some believers to represent Thelema as a religion of the sun, of the ancient Egyptian deities Osiris, Isis, and Horus, of Thoth and Sekhmet, but it is not. Yeah, it's a religion of Nuit. Hold on a second, guys. I got a little bit of a problem here. Yeah, so if anything, right, it's more a religion of darkness, of the dark goddess Nuit, the starry cause, the dark mother. He says, as we shall see, the very creed of the Gnostic Mass, the ritual designed to be the public face of Thelema to the world, speaks of a god called Chaos, and the Chaos is the code word for Set, the Dark Lord. So the Temple of Set, huh? The interrelationship of the concepts of Cthulhu, Oz, Za, Yezid demonstrates unequivocally the essential identity of the Necronomicon 555 and the Theuronic 666 currents. Oz as the manifesto and manifestation of man are equated in the Necronomicon. The power of man is the power of the Ancient Ones, and this is the Covenant. That's from Kenneth Grant, Outer Gateways. I'll probably have to start looking into Kenneth Grant again a little more. Maybe read his Outer Gateways. The above correspondence link irrefragably to the Necronomicon, Camite, and Thelemic currents, showing the three strands as a continual linear development in both a chronological and magical sense. Sorry guys, the door on my refrigerator for some reason was fucking going bananas. It's like crazy. It's like taking crazy pills over here. Grant, the late head of the Typhonian Order in England and an intimate of Aleister Crowley, has insisted throughout many books that the magical current represented by Crowley's Thelema, and that represented specifically by the how do you even say this word? It's German. Schlangelkraft, recension of the Necronomicon, sometimes referred to as the Simonomicon, are not only compatible, but are in fact identical. He refers to the Necronomicon Gnosis, a system representative not only the Necronomicon itself, but also of the stories that fall under the heading of the Cthulhu mythos, and which includes works by Lovecraft as well as by his friends and imitators. As a credible magical doctrine and practice, he makes numerous references to Lovecraft, Cthulhu, and the Necronomicon throughout his later works in order to substantiate and justify his position on themes as disparate as the magical methods of Austin Osman Spur, the UFO phenomena, the visions of Crowley, Drac Parsons, Charles Stansfield Jones, Afro-Caribbean cults, tantric rituals, and much, much more. What does all this mean? Thelema is a great Greek word meaning will, and was used by Crowley to refer to... Is that thing beeping again? Jesus, my My refrigerator is beeping for some reason. It's kind of annoying. It's like the beeping of a fire alarm or something, right? Give me 1 second. I got to figure this out. I'm not a guy that could tolerate a beeping fire alarm. Okay, I think I got it. Let's hope. Yeah, so magic with a K, he preferred to spell the word in order to differentiate it from other forms. Absolutely. And I think we all should abide by that in this modern phase we call the Aeon of Horus. The previous age was the Aeon of Osiris, the slain and resurrected god. The Mithra, and of Jesus. The age before was the matriarchal Aeon of Isis. The present Aeon of Horus is the age of Cthulhu, all right? The offspring of Isis and Horus. Thus, the magical child, what I call the divine child, right? The immortal child. The seminal text of this new religion is the Book of the Law, Liber al vel Legus, to give it its Latin title. Received by Crowley, communications obtained in Cairo, April 1904, in order to promulgate his new faith. Crowley enlisted the aid of a German secret society called the Ordo Templi Orientis, or Order of the Eastern Temple. This order exists today in several forms and on virtually every continent. I don't know any Thelemites here in China. I do know some Golden Dawn people, and I do know some Freemasons, and even a Rosicrucian, but I don't know of any Thelemites in Beijing. Maybe there are. Hey, Machete's here. Welcome to the chat, Machete. Good to see you again. I hope you are doing well. We are looking at Pisces as the tarot card of the moon and the Aeon of Horus. And so all hail the Mother Hydra, all hail the Father Dagon. Cthulhu has risen, and I am your presiding Grand Wizard, self-appointed, of the Esoteric Order of Dagon, friend and well-wisher Frank Monday, inviting you to join me on the 100-Day Challenge, Pathways of Psionics, that will be starting on March 22nd. You'll be able to find the full course syllabus along with a bibliography of reading materials at buymeacoffee.com/Frank Monday. Please hit the like button for the old YouTube algobots and keep them barking like Pavlov's dog. If it's your first time, don't let it be your last time. Sub the channel and hit the bell icon. They say that helps out the channel. I don't know, man. Maybe it does. Maybe it does. Because one day I'd like to get to 1,000 subs one of these days. Let's get a little deeper into this. So I like the idea here. It starts off with, right? It says the theme of European mystics going to the Middle East to obtain secret knowledge is an old one and can be seen in the origin legend of the Rosicrucian. Christian Rosenkreutz, their putative founder, went to the Middle East in search of wisdom. And your Grand Wizard of the Esoteric Order of Dagon, Frater Francis Lunas Aristeas, has come to the Orient as well in search of wisdom. That's why I am broadcasting from Twilight Zone Old Peking here in the Central Kingdom of the Celestial Dragon, far behind the Bab Firewall, working hard for you to bring you all of the goods. So we're looking over currently The Dark Lord by Levin Peter as a suggestion by Real to Real. The Middle East is the birthplace of the three great monotheistic religions, Judaism, Christianity, and Islam, called the Abrahamic religions after their common ancestor, the prophet Abraham. Is that the same Abraham that we're all descendants of, right? Father Abraham had many sons. Many sons had Father Abraham. I am one of them, and so are you. So let's just praise the Lord. But where some of the world's oldest recorded religions were born millennium before the birth of Moses, the founder of the Jewish faith, and the Egyptian religion, and their plethora of gods and goddesses, the religions of Sumer, Akkad, and Babylon, and some even stranger cults. The insistence on ancient origins is a key factor in reading Grant. In fact, Grant is not satisfied with the antiquity of even these religions, but points to a more distant set of ancestors, even ancient Egypt, the Kamite. And the second quotation given earlier is not old enough. The oldest in Grant's chronology is that of the Necronomicon and its associated Sumerian tradition. The tradition is represented by Thelema, had its origins in Sumer, and from Sumer to Egypt. Well, the real origin is ancient China and the Shang Dynasty wizards. They're the ones who first saw the tortoise of the octahedron rise up out of the river, as I was saying a moment ago. And they're the ones that developed the serious systems of Qigong that lead to magical power and a direct connection with the divine. And it's a simplified system too. It's not so complex. Some of these systems are so complex that they're almost unapproachable. He says, for what Grant is saying, that all religions, and especially all antinomian cults, have their origin in a single cult, a single magical order that has its origin not on Earth but in the stars. This is absolutely true, right? Because we're pulling in our information from beings that have never taken human form. It's at the heart of the current fascination with ancient aliens and alien archaeology and all those Discovery Channel and History Channel specials about the theories of von Daniken, Zecharia Sitchin, for example. It is central to fears about the coming of the Antichrist and the prophecies of Nostradamus and the Chiliistic panic about the Mayan calendar and the end of the year in 2012. Other ugly reports concerned my intimacy with leaders of the occultist groups and scholars suspected of connection with nameless bands of abhorrent elder world hierophants. These rumors, though never proved at the time, were doubtless stimulated by the known tenor of some of my reading. That comes from, let me see, where's that quote from? Let me see if I can nail it without looking. They have a reference, but you have to click on the little button. That comes from other reports concerned my intimacy with leaders of occultist groups. Is that from the Tale of Cthulhu? I think it might be. I don't think it is, though. It's the wizard who finds the elixir of life, like the potion of youth. I'm trying to think of which of Lovecraft's tales that is. I can't remember. It might be the Call of Cthulhu. Let me click on the link. Get to it. It shows me. Oh, it's the Shadow Out of Time. Wow. Yeah. Nice. The Shadow Out of Time. Who was it in the Shadow Out of Time? It wasn't Peabody. That was the Mountains of Madness. What was the guy's name? The professor of literature at Miskatonic University, who lost possession of his body for 5 years when what is that race called? The Master Race. Not the Master Race. The Perfected Race. Took possession of him for a while. I think it was called the Perfected Race, or the Ultimate Race. The purpose of this book is to deconstruct and decode the works of Kenneth Grant as much as possible, at least insofar as the Necronomicon Gnosis and the Typhonian Current are concerned. To do justice to the entire Grant oeuvre would be a major task outside the scope of this work. What we will do instead is try to understand how the Necronomicon fits in with the Thelemic Current, and how both of these together inform Grant's Typhonian hypothesis. Before we begin, however, it's necessary to address three important points. In first place, the author is not a member of the OTO. Okay. Nihil obstat. Okay, he says he's not associated with any order. In the second place, there has been much drama over the Simon Necronomicon, much of which concerns the identity of Simon himself rather than the substance of the book. Simon has addressed these issues in his own Dead Names, The Dark History of the Necronomicon. Yeah, I don't know anything about that guy Simon who wrote the Necronomicon. Anyway, doesn't matter. In the third place, many of the issues we will discuss will be considered anathema or heretical by doctrinaire Thelemites, such as the works of Frater Akkad, Austin Osman Spar, and even Jack Parsons, while normative Thelema, if by that we mean the OTO and the Grady McMurdy line, may be likened to the official church, it is possible that these later generations will consider the writings of Frater Akkad, Spar, Parsons, and among others, possibly including the works of the Necronomicon editor Simon himself, to be Gnostic versions of the official Gospels, much the way one approaches the Nag Hammadi texts or the Dead Sea Scrolls. Okay, with these caveats in mind, let us proceed to an investigation of the most neglected thesis in the history of modern occultism, the nature of the Typhonian Current and its relationship to Aleister Crowley's Thelema and H.P. Lovecraft's Necronomicon. Let us approach the throne of the Dark Lord. Yeah, there it is there, huh? The throne of the Dark Lord with his crown sitting on his head at Keter, Bina and Hokmah at his shoulders, Gebura and Hesed. Okay, so Bina and Hokmah for me are at the sides of the head. The crown sits on the head, and then you've got Bina and Hokmah oscillating around the head. And then you have Gebura and Hesed at the shoulders, Tiferet at the heart, Had and Netzach at the hips, Yesod at the groin, and then Malkut at the feet. So that's the throne of the Dark Lord right there, the Tree of Life. Its 10 spheres, or Sephiroth, are identified with the planets, the 22 paths with the letters of the Hebrew alphabet, and the 22 major arcana of the tarot, and the 22 bones of the skull, like you said, Quaff being the back of the head. This one follows Crowley's attributes of He and Zadai. Good stuff, man. Yeah, excellent. Wow, I'll be able to understand this quite a bit better than I could have when I was in my 20s, right? Now that I'm in my 50s, this is actually something I can really, really enjoy. That is not dead which can eternal lie, and with strange aeons even death may die. Now that's from the Call of Cthulhu, H.P. Lovecraft. I recognize that reference right off. All right, good magic. I appreciate that, Reel to Reel. You really brought a lot of interesting stuff here. They are very lucky in the Orient, he says. China is actually pre-Babylonian. Yeah, I believe so as well. In fact, I believe that the magic that Christ learned, the angelic magic that he learned, actually came from Qigong practices in China. Lao Tzu, when he wrote the Tao Te Ching, he wrote another book that a lot of people don't know about called the Hua Hu Jing, which are the conversations with the young prince. And many associate the young prince with Buddha, and so that Buddha was actually taught Taoism originally, and he's became the Gautama Buddha or whatever. But that same teaching is what later descended to the mystics and the magi that went and grabbed Jesus, as a young boy and brought him to the East to study probably in some region of Tibet. But they were studying Lao Tzu's leftover teaching 500 years prior to that. So there might be something to that. And Lao Tzu was the keeper of the imperial archives in ancient Beijing, right where I'm at right now. And he had collected data that supposedly went all the way back to the early Shang dynasty. So we're talking 3,000 to 5,000 years BCE. So we're talking similar in ballpark, right? But and the Shang wizards were saying that they were bringing forward a teaching that was 40,000 years BCE. That was prior to the time so we're talking like Mu and Lemuria, right? Like even pre-Atlantean. So we're talking about a tradition that legendarily, right, has continued in unbroken succession, dating up to 50,000 years ago. So yeah, I think it's good magic, and it's what originally drew me to China, is that I felt like there was some direct connection to these traditions, and that I would be able to find it by learning the Chinese language at a native level, so that I had it well enough where I could read and write in that language, and I would be able to read these texts without a translator, right? Just being able to read them on my own, which I think there's some value in it. It may have been a bit of a pipe dream as a young man, but yeah, hell, it's, pursue your dreams, I guess, It says Peter Lavender is the author of the Simon Necronomicon. Oh, really? Wow, that's interesting, huh? I guess it's possible. I don't even know who any of these guys are. It says the child Horus is a twin, 2 in 1. Horus and Harpocrates are one, and they are also one with Set and Apophis, the destroyer of Osiris. It is by the destruction of the principle of death that they are born. The establishment of this new aeon, this new fundamental principle, is the great work now to be accomplished in the world. Let not the reverence for the God of thyself cause thee by a misconception to lose thy reverence for the gods who live forever, the aeons of infinite years. And I think that's kind of what we've lost in this new modern aeon, is that people have become so self-absorbed that they think that they themselves are God, and then they'll ignore the God above, right? So they say, okay, well, I have this divine spark or God within, and therefore, I can become an atheist, and I don't need this older idea of the God above. And it's like, how fucking asinine is that? How stick your head straight up your own ass could that possibly be, right? It's like, should the son forget the father? Should the father forget the grandfather? Absolutely not. We need to maintain these traditions throughout time, and there's a very good reason for it, is that you got to remember your roots. Otherwise you're rising up out of the protoplasma of monkey men. And why would you want to? I mean, because you've got a choice in life. You can be an atheistic globetard, that rose from the protoplasm and evolved from monkeys. Sure, that's fine and dandy. You can do that if you want. But you could take the other choice too, which is the spiritual path, and realizing that we are descendant from divine forces, from an angelic hierarchy, and that we have a birthright as immortal beings in the celestial sphere, in the timeless homeland. And I mean, why would you give that up? Why would you give up the real gem of spiritual immortality, the trapezohedron, as it were, inside you for just some like lump of cow dung. So there's a guru sitting on the side of the road, an Indian guru who's starving himself in a yogi position, and he's floating up off the ground, and he's like, "Hey, Wayfarer, I see that you have that beautiful, diamond shining trapezohedron in your heart." And he says, "I'll trade it for this even more valuable ball of cow dung." And most people out there, they're just like, "Oh yeah, I'd love to be a monkey man. I'd love to evolve from a big bang and from protoplasma and just get down in the dirt with you and just be mired in it." And I, for one, am not willing to trade that. He says, "May I say that the Buddha has technical insights into the Dhamma, a particular gnosis, the supermundane path that Taoism does not teach. The Taoism has insights that accord certainty with the Buddhism." Yeah, you have to go on. You'll have to go on. The Taoists, definitely, they leave a lot of the insights up to the individual rather than, and the reason they did this, right? The reason Lao Tzu and many of, Chuangzi and Kohong and Mozi and other Tao, Liu Dongping even himself, they gave you the method alone, right? They said, here's the method to cultivate spiritual immortality. The rest of it, just discover on your own, right? Whereas the Buddhists, they just wrote it all down. They're like, here's everything that we're discovering. Here's what it looks like. Here's how to work your way through karma and the wheel of life and all of this. Whereas the Taoists, they think that's a little bit, that's not great, right? Because if, number one, people aren't going to believe it, right? They're going to be like, "Oh, well, that's horse shit. I haven't experienced that." And then number two, it makes it all so overt, where it's not, I don't think it's really meant to be overt. It's meant to be occulted and esoteric, so that you got to do a little bit of work in order to get there. You got to roll up your sleeves. Where in studying Buddhism, you do as well. You have to do the work. But and I'm not saying there's anything wrong with Buddhism. I haven't really ever studied it other than Zen, the Zen, the what in Chinese we actually call Chan. So Chan Buddhism, I have investigated, and there's quite a bit in that I really enjoy. But your mainstream, like going to temples and hanging flags and burning incense, that's all fine and dandy, but it really doesn't get down to the burden of life, and this idea as life as suffering, it doesn't appeal to me at all. The Taoists have a perspective of life as like a garden, like you can thrive and enjoy life, and if you follow the way, then you'll be preserved. And life shouldn't just be this whole focus on, banging your head against the ground in front of wooden statues painted gold. And it stinks of hero worship a little bit anytime. Like even when you engage in the idolatry of Christ and his crucifixion, then that also, it stinks of idolatry. Whereas in Tao, we don't really have any one given thing that would serve as idol worship. Though I would say there are direct correspondences between what in Tao is known as Yuan Shi Tianzuan, or the original immortal crafter, the grand architect, and it would directly correspond with the grand architect of Freemasonry, and what in I believe it's Gnosticism they refer to as Abraxas, one of the first original grand architects of our cosmos. And that's why I call my simple prayer that I do each day at the beginning of the show the adoration of Abraxas, because I somehow believe that is the secret word of abracadabra, that in this aeon is of intrinsic value and originally and so it's a sui generis force that can also be likened to Yahweh or Jehovah. But that's getting into too many details of my own private practice that probably wouldn't serve most people. But yeah, good magic, reel to reel. Thank you for that, man. That's going to give me a lot of stuff to look into over this coming semester, and I'm certainly going to enjoy it. Let's see here. That's about all I've got for today then, man. I got to get busy doing some other things. The kids are getting up soon, and the semester's about to start. I'm looking forward to the new 100-day challenge, where we will be researching psychic energy, right, and the pathways of the psionics. So you might want to investigate it with me, and stay tuned for more to come. Signing off as Grand Wizard of the Esoteric Order of Dagon Eastern Star Division, here in Twilight Zone Old Peking, within the Central Kingdom of the Celestial Dragon, your friend and well-wisher, Frank Monday, inviting you to join me on Pathways of the Psionics, and check me out on buymeacoffee.com/Frank Monday. Thanks for all the supporters who have gone over there. I got 14 supporters on Buy Me a Coffee now. Real, you are ranked among them, and thank you for that, man. I certainly do appreciate that. I will do the invocation of total integration to sign off today's show. If you guys know it, say it with me. Take a deep breath. Inhale and hold for 3, 2, 1. Command yourself to relax. Imagine your holy guardian angel standing above you. Beatific, beautiful, clothed in the divine light of the crown of Keter, red gold angelic wings vibrating at a high frequency. Inhale and aspire to your angel. Exhale, you and your angel are one. Heaven and earth are the spontaneous manifestations of the subtle, wondrous, universal law. As the original oneness expresses itself, gross and subtle energies become distinctly divided. Our bodily caves are brightly illuminated by the mysterious light from the 3 Dantian bridge points leading to immortality. The powerful spirits of the 8 directions conjoin our being with the true origin of life. By the absolute order of the divine Ling Bao in the highest 9th heaven, send the positive energies of Qianluo, Dana, Dengkan, and Taishun to destroy our spiritual obstacles and debilitate any evil influence. This order is given by the highest sovereignty. It is a jade oracle from the subtle origin. I invoke with strong sincerity to drive away the demons and evils and to lengthen my healthy years. The attained spirits respond. The evil demon king, Mo Wang, is chained to stand as our guard and servant. The powerful atmosphere has been generated, dispersing all negativity. The chi of Tao is everlasting. So it is commanded and confirmed. So mote it be. Amen. All right, good magic. And remember, O neophyte, goodness alone is power, silence is strength, will regaineth omnipotence, and love lieth at the foundation, because love is the law, right? Love under will. And do thou what thou will. That is the whole of the law. No new horror, my friends, can be more terrible than the daily torture of the commonplace. The basic equation, abracadabra, is ask and you shall receive, seek and ye shall find, knock and it shall be opened unto you. To finish us off, I start each day choosing to express the highest divine positive energy in my life and to be productive. I am grateful for all that I have, grateful for all of you joining in, and good to see all of you. I am capable of achieving the great work, and I embrace those challenges each day as opportunities to grow and reflect. And I most certainly am willing to take action on those important things in my life, one of which is the pursuit of magic and the great work. I hope you join me, Wayfarer. Much love to all of you out there in Happy Land. Y'all keep doing good magic. Ad Astra per Aspera. And Carpe Diem. Get out there and seize the day. Until next time, bye for now.